Deep breath. October 2024. Here we are again. Yeah. Life has become surreal. It's bizarre. I mean, there's a genocide going on with the Palestinians, Israel, the war expanding. We have a genocide going on here with a whole lot of people being killed off via the use of weather weapons. How about the spraying and people breathing in all of these incredibly toxic metals, getting sick, dying? That product that came out in 2020 is really killing off an awful lot of people. We have the most bizarre American system. The whole government, everything has changed in our country. So much has changed. It's like no one has any integrity at all. We used to, and I think all of this ended with Kennedy. Yeah, if you look back, there was a kind of sharpness in the change from our politicians, from Kennedy to Nixon to Ford. Really? Carter, Reagan, and all of them. We've been an incredibly evil, murderous country forever. And yet, we've lived most of our lives thinking that we're morally superior. Isn't that bizarre? Exceptional to all other people. As we get literally just destroyed by those we revere, we put on pedestals. Now it's Kamala Harris, Trump. Haven't we come a long way down? Ooh, well, what's out there is pretty frightening. And I have to say, there are days when I just see what is happening out there. And I think to myself, could we really have gotten this bad? Clearly, we have. And I don't have TV. I don't watch news like I used to watch news. This election, this campaign, the little bits that I get on Twitter or YouTube, and I'm like, are you flipping kidding me? Trump at McDonald's. He's at the window. He's serving people at the window at McDonald's. Isn't that just, it's like quintessential American. You got a former president who's running for the presidency again. He's at McDonald's, working at McDonald's, serving Americans toxic food, poisonous food. And everybody is rah, 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 Trump. It's just a very weird life now. And Kamala Harris, man, I mean, she shows how pathetic Americans are, that they actually, yeah, we are absolutely a part of all of this. We've allowed this shit show that we've got playing. And we used to have candidates who had to declare that they were Christians when they were running for political office, right? Public office. That was in the 90s. I was getting really tired of it in the late 80s, 90s. And then it stopped. It just ended. Like, okay, I thought that was a little bizarre. Now we have this presidential candidate who clearly is not qualified for the job. Very clear, very clear. Okay, but she's at a rally. Somebody screams out, "Jesus is king," and she says, "Oh, we don't do that here. You can go down to the next rally for that." Wow, that's kind of head spinning. The abject disrespect of so many Americans, not just Christians, a whole lot of Americans. It's so in our face now that these people have utter contempt for the American people. How is it that people can't see this? You know, and it doesn't matter. You don't have to be Christian to recognize that that woman, that one few second interaction with some of these young guys in the audience showed such disrespect. You do not have to be Christian to be like, how does somebody do this who's running for the presidency of the United States? You don't have to be Christian to recognize that it was a massive slap in the face to all Christians. And also a recognition of, whoa, in just a few short decades, we went from everybody has to declare themselves as a Christian to, oh, we don't do that stuff here. You can go down to the smaller rally or whatever the hell she said. I sometimes, after seeing these things, I just sit. I sit and ponder. I sit and I am absolutely amazed at how quickly this all came about. The abject insanity in not just these government officials, but also the American people. It's clear that we have a candidate who is not qualified. We listen to her try to talk and communicate, and she's not quite there, right? So we're going to go from the brain dead president to perhaps another scary kind of brain dead president. Do you think the US empire is dying? I think it is. I really think it is. I'm just amazed, seeing Donald Trump, who is passing toxic food to Americans sitting in their car through the McDonald's window. And I'm thinking to myself, what a joke we are. We're just Lizzo. Lizzo is campaigning for Kamala Harris in Detroit. And she said something like, we have to make Detroit great again. And everybody should want to be Detroit. Really? Oh my God, there's so much going on that is just, it kind of reflects, our society, the American people, and what we have permitted. Oh, sure, the individual can walk along the street and say, I didn't permit it. I don't want any of this. But if you're not doing anything to put a stop to it, then you're permitting it. You're giving your consent. So we've given our consent to live in a psych ward. Alicia DeMoss and Crazy Potts and Tony Punch and B-Dub and Julio and Geofactor 3 and Analog Synth Player and Joni. I love being me, 333. Hey, everybody. Andrew Cruz and D. Moore and Bluesman, Sonny Fournier. Nice to see you. Taylor Noose, nice to see you. Angelos and Sandra and Stax Stevenson. Hey. I always like seeing the subscribers that we've all been together for so many years. And Stack's one of them. And I have to say, Stack, how are you feeling? Because, oh man, it's one hell of a crazy time we're living. Marlo, D. Moore, and Shauna Howard, and Sith Trish, and Rage Against the Machine, and the Hypocrites Matrix. Jane Northrup, Ain't Buying It. Oracle 11, Ruled by Fictions. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Tony Stauffer. Yeah, it is. It's. I mean, anybody sane, of sane mind still in this country, has to be looking at what's happening and very concerned, at least very concerned. Aaron Myers and Trent Robb, hi. And Tonette and JT, and wow, hi guys. Christopher, hi. Dan Mick, hi. Making French fries great again. And McDonald's is just like, oh my God, the food is so bad. So bad. All right, guys, I've got to go. I have to go to, let's just check out Radar. Keep something consistent. Here we are. Oh, what's it? Yeah. Gotcha. So we have supercells igniting in New Mexico again. And this twirling about, as it was twirling about in Arizona and New Mexico last night, well, it's still twirling. Well, anybody can see. Anybody can see that this is very unusual for a weather front in the United States, for sure. You see how, wow, that becomes very right-angled. It's a right-angled weather front that Mother Nature does not engage in. She doesn't create right angles. But man, with the electromagnetic frequencies, certainly does. These supercells, tiny, but still could be dangerous. Well, Colorado, and I don't see any supercells in Colorado yet, but you do have severe weather warnings. New Mexico, Colorado, and here you go. So you have them in Colfax and Mora, New Mexico, San Miguel, New Mexico, and Colorado, Los Animas, severe thunderstorms. And you know that, yep, severe thunderstorms comes about with flash flooding, as New Mexico got last night, Roswell, New Mexico. But also tornadic activity, and yeah, the trees falling, straight line winds, hail. Well, be very careful. Be very careful when you see these supercells ignite. The radar link is in the chat. The severe weather and tornado alert site, that link is in the chat as well. We are at war. Hi, Sweet Pea. You came in, what, for treats? Of course you came in, because you hear me talking. I guess that's what it is. You hear me talking, and you know that you got to come in and start meowing and disrupt the live, right? Okay. Roswell, New Mexico. Okay, wait 1 second, Sweet Pea. Roswell, New Mexico. Supercells that I showed last night. Here we go.
At this time, I am sitting on the roof of my cop car, my police truck. I am completely surrounded by water.
And that was Chaves County Sheriff Mike Harrington on top of his cop car. Now you can see the water that is quickly rising, how scary the situation was in Roswell, New Mexico. And we've got more visuals coming in from Roswell. And this is a terrifying sight to see. This was also yesterday. We always advise folks to not drive through any sort of rushing or standing water because it doesn't take very much to float a vehicle and have it completely stall out altogether. And so it's a scary scene to say the least, but this was also a scene from Roswell, New Mexico yesterday is what it looked like driving around during the intense downpour as multiple vehicles, unfortunately, they were swept away by the flash flooding. And when you think about this region, and oftentimes you think about New Mexico, well, it's an area where we typically think of the desert, and you're not talking about, unfortunately, flash flooding, but this is what we're dealing with as we have an intense rain, several inches of rain coming down in a short period of time, especially over recent burn scars. This is what can lead to, unfortunately, very devastating and very scary flooding like what we saw.
Doesn't look that bad, right? That's Canada. Wait, I had another Roswell. Where is it? Carol, get your act together. Here it is.
Roswell, New Mexico, October 20th, 2024.
This was Sippy and Opal. Just let you know where we're at.
Now it's still running.
Flooding inundates Roswell with rescues ongoing. Homes and businesses are underwater. Roswell remains underwater as the city recovers from historic rainfall that brought severe flooding to the town on Saturday night. According to officials from the city of Roswell, one person died due to the flooding. City officials also say several vehicles were swept away in a river channel. The National Weather Service reports 7 people were rescued after a car was swept away in floodwater. The National Guard has also rescued nearly 300 people from floodwaters. According to the National Weather Service, 5.78 inch of rain fell at the Roswell Air Center. This is a new all-time record for the city. The previous record was set in 1901. Roswell was not the only place in Chaves County that experienced flooding. Hagerman Police and Dexter Fire and Rescue officials say they have also experienced widespread flooding. Weather forecasters say more rain is possible on Sunday. Flash flooding is also possible with any rain that falls in the area. River flooding along the Pecos River is also possible as floodwater recedes from Roswell and other parts of Chaves County. A flash flood watch has been extended until 3 a.m. on Monday.
Yeah, and that's what you're seeing on radar. These little blips there. Blip here. Blips of weather warfare. More cars destroyed. Homes were flooded. But look at Canada. Chaos in Canada. Vancouver, BC. Highways turn into oceans. Look at this.
Oh my God.
Wait a second.
God.
My work is flooded.
Provincial election. Canada has updated its rainfall warning for Metro Vancouver following catastrophic flooding. An atmospheric river pummeled the South BC coast with upwards of 150 millimeters of rain on Saturday, October 19, leaving many voters drenched on their way to local polling stations. Flooding has resulted in numerous street closures across the region, and BC Hydro crews are having trouble accessing areas to make repairs and restore power to customers. Between 216 and 212 streets, Fortiev Avenue is closed in this section.
It could be any country in Europe right now. It could be, well, what we have seen, Florida, North Carolina. What also is very just now disturbingly surreal is that there are so many adults who still cannot even consider that this is an act of war against them. It's an act of war, whether used as a weapon. And yes, I have plenty of evidence on my Never Lose Truth channel. Never Lose Truth, no number, just Never Lose Truth. Playlist, weather modification. Playlist, geoengineering. Playlist, directed energy weapons. Playlists, and throughout the years. Yes, man can do this. And it's so upsetting. It would be a little less upsetting if it was actually Mother Nature, acts of God, because there's nothing you can do about that. But it's not. It's not. This is very evil people ordering their weather terrorists to come about, destroy infrastructure, homes, businesses, people. We know it. We see it. We see it over and over and over and over. This was the perfect weapon to use against North America. Really. Because some of the weapons are invisible, and they can claim that it's climate change. And a whole lot of adults who really aren't adults yet, who have been, just giving their mind over to mainstream media, government officials, all of those climate change activists, giving their mind over. They're not thinking. And we need them to think. We need them to think. Southern Europe. Some of this I showed last night, but yeah.
River water overflows, it dams flooding houses and fields.
Look at this. I mean,
People are forced to evacuate to a safe place. Action and loss in their wake.
like Canadians, like Americans,
The authorities are
a whole lot of
taking
Europeans are really hurting financially. And how do you recover? How do you recover? I mean, the loss of a car now can break someone. It's bad. It's bad. Over and over for years, years and years and years, we've been watching this. And yeah, good old FEMA. New Mexico, the flash flooding, the wildfires earlier this year. Oh, the fire and flooding victims are frustrated with FEMA.
South Fork and Salt fires devastated Ruidoso and the surrounding areas, causing more than $29 million in damages. After that, the community then faced one flood after another. Luckily, they finally got a break from Mother Nature, but they're still picking up the pieces. Some residents have been able to get the help they need from FEMA. Monica Logronio spoke to FEMA officials, though, about how they've been able to help both fire and flood victims. But some residents also told her they've been having trouble getting that coverage.
It has been a nightmare, I'm telling you, because I've gone over there like 21 times and they haven't responded.
Priscilla Aguilar and Abel Montelongo are trying to get their money back.
It was really bad because they told us at midnight that we had to leave town.
After they were forced to evacuate Ruidoso Downs because of the South Fork and Salt fires.
I realized they were going to help us for the expenses we had, but it was all lies. They tossed me around like a ball, from one side to the other.
According to Montelongo, FEMA was supposed to help with those costs, but after trying to track them down several times, he never got his money back.
I'll post the link if you want to hear more of this, but this is FEMA, okay? And it didn't just start in Western North Carolina, that's for sure. People having to fight with their insurance companies to get what they deserve didn't start just this year. This has been going on for a very long time. You pay premiums that are, well, throughout the years, they continued to increase. And when you actually need the insurance to come through, you end up having to fight. FEMA pays for the attorney's fees for the insurance companies. Yeah. It's all a scam. And the power grid failure leaves Cuba. Yes, I know. The entire country still has no electricity 48 hours later. And what's going on in Cuba? Power grid failure? Or is it a test? Is it a test country for that power grid to come down blacking out more countries? I don't know. But now they have Hurricane Oscar coming into the east of Cuba, eastern Cuba. So I guess they're not going to be getting their power back. But what's going on?
Cuba is in the dark again tonight. Back-to-back nationwide blackouts sparked by power grid failures has left millions without electricity. CTV's Jeremy Sharon reports.
A nation in the dark for a second day in a row. We are in a total crisis, says this local man affected by the blackout. Cubans lit fires and candles as roughly 10 million people have been without power on the island country. We must recognize the people, Cuba's president told the state-run TV network, highlighting Cubans' efforts to unite amid difficult times. A first countrywide blackout started Friday morning. Officials said power was starting to be slowly restored overnight, but the country's grid collapsed again as work was underway. As you can see, the freezer has thawed and will lose all of this food, says this woman. Cubans have been experiencing rolling blackouts for months, an effort by the government to conserve energy. Friday, schools and non-essential industries shut down in a last-ditch effort to keep the lights on, but it wasn't enough.
This is a fatal blow of the failed policies, the failures of the Cuban regime on the Cuban people.
What do I do? What can I do? Says this Havana resident. Chronic power outages in Cuba have worsened of late. Its government has blamed struggles with the grid on a decades-old U.S. embargo on Cuba, deteriorating infrastructure, and fuel shortages.
Or they just flip the switch. Who's to know? Prolonged power outages lead to increased need for food in Polk County, Florida.
Everyone we spoke to in this line said they lost power and then lost all their food during Hurricane Milton. They're grateful for sites like this where they can restock.
We didn't have power for 7 days, and I'm going to cry.
Polk County's Lisa Brault says she and her family were watching their food supply dwindle away as each day passed without power.
I had 2 refrigerators and a chest freezer, and we lost everything. I didn't think we'd be gone without power that long.
2 boxes! She came to this Feeding Tampa Bay food distribution site in Mulberry Friday to restock. Feeding Tampa Bay is adding distribution sites daily and has provided more than 1.3 million meals since Hurricanes Helene and Milton hit.
That's 2.
Here at the Mulberry Community Service Center, requests were coming in for food, clothing, and cleaning supplies, all things that were lost from storm damage and power outages.
The food need has something we've never seen come through. The amount of requests and referrals for emergency food and services like that has gone up drastically in the past week.
It is times like these when hope seems hard to come by that community steps in to get people through.
Even if we pick up the phone or and we just talk to them, comfort them, that even that in itself, it's just being there for our community any which way we can.
This is the United States, a country that I think a lot of us have fond memories of. But they're memories, and it ain't coming back. This kind of stuff, whether hurricane, power outages, or the economy, it's only going to increase. Florida mobile home residents getting eviction notices on top of storm damage. Pow, pow. I'm sorry, but we have a lot of really bad, immoral, disgusting, gross, evil people in our country.
Move now to our cover story. So many.
The ordinary. Oh, but yeah, I mean, it really sickens me. It just, somehow I just wish that all the good people would come out and just flock around all of these evil shitheads who do not care, who do not have any care for the people that they destroy. Shame them, until they just don't want to show their face anymore. But because these practices are done by so many people in our morally superior country, a whole lot think nothing of it.
Many people living in a mobile home park in Newport Richey have already lost so much. And now some people tell ABC Action News reporter Eric Waxler they're facing an eviction notice on top of everything else. Eric went out to listen to them today and find out why.
In a neighborhood already wrecked by Helene's storm surge and Milton's winds, a simple piece of paper is causing more agony. Some with seriously damaged homes in Harborview Mobile Manor are now getting eviction notices.
We have some that are trying to live with no electric, no floors. They're falling through their floors when they walk. We have one couple who has a man, he is completely paralyzed in a wheelchair. She can't even bring him back here. They're paying money out of their pocket for a house they can't live in because his wheelchair will fall through, and they're staying in a hotel, but they want their rent.
Down one ravaged street, we found Eddie trying to salvage some of his belongings in a place he can no longer call home.
It's kind of devastating to think that a lot of my neighbors and friends and stuff, other than us, is just really out, and we don't know what to do.
Eddie says he and his wife found a smaller condo to move into and signed away what's left of their home to the park owners.
I just put in a $7,000 heat and air unit, $1,000 for a hot water tank.
Some of Harborview is without power, and much of the trash is still piled up.
When I first moved in here, this was a beautiful mobile home park, and now we're living like trailer trash. It's ridiculous. We pay way too much money to this big corporation to not have any consideration.
Pasco County Commissioner Lisa Yeager just found out about the eviction notices here.
How can we do that to our seniors? They can't afford it. We're going to bankrupt them. These people need help. So these parks, they can't evict these people. They've just been through a catastrophe.
I reached out to the park owners, Equity Lifestyle Properties in Chicago, and asked what could be done to help those struggling here. The Public Relations Department got back to me and say they are looking into the situation. In the meantime, word is getting out about what's happening, and that's led to donations of food and clothing.
Right now, we're the talk of the city. Thank gosh. But unfortunately, it took this to do it. But we're still being bounced between management company and the city. Oh, we can't do this because you're private. Oh, it's up to them. We're on a list. Come on, just give us answers.
County leaders say they can't help if they don't know about problems, and they want people to self-report by calling the county customer service line at 727-847-2411.
Call the county. You'll get answers. I am sure of it. My gut tells me they are turning Florida and a whole lot of other places, but the whole state of Florida into, this area for the elite only. Those who survive all of their tactics will be in a smart city, and you'll be the slave for the elite. You'll get permission to go outside, that 15-minute city to work for your slave owners. We have more of the elderly being evicted. And this is in Port Washington, Long Island, New York. Port Washington is a very, very affluent area. Nassau County, which I lived in Port Washington, my 9th grade to 12th grade. My mother married this Exxon executive, moved out to Port Washington. It was Not a town that I liked, but extremely affluent. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if you're rich or poor. You're getting destroyed. You have to be ultra rich to escape the consequences. This is really pretty amazing.
It is the last thing residents at a senior community expected to be dealing with in their retirement. The owners of the complex filed for bankruptcy again, and now the people who live there may have to find a new place to live by the end of the year. Carolyn Gussoff covers Long Island, and she takes us to Port Washington in Nassau County, where those residents tell her they face losing everything.
The thought of leaving my place just... A devastating thought to 95-year-old Constance Maselli and 93-year-old Joyce Shapiro in limbo, along with 180 other elderly residents of the Harborside, formerly the Amsterdam. The independent and assisted living facility is in bankruptcy, and its purchase was just rejected by state regulators. Residents are bracing for eviction.
It's been horrible, because we don't know what's going to happen to us.
There's no other word to describe it except awful. We're not sleeping nights. In bankruptcy 3 times in a decade, financial woes from the start. Half of its 330 units are empty. The life care company LCS sale was abruptly denied days ago. The New York State Health Department cited several critical issues, including the lack of required financial transparency. LCS called the ruling deeply disappointing, saying nothing could be further from the truth. A blame game with residents in the middle. I paid over $850,000 to live here, which will be lost. Residents sold their homes for a buy-in here. They're writing letters to the governor begging for negotiations to continue. A spokesman told us the state will work with families to make sure loved ones have a place to go. They will be given options. We don't need their help where to go. We need their help to stay here. It's really a catastrophic situation for our residents.
It's horrendous. And the state just washed its hands of it.
State Senator Jack Martin suspects the state killed the deal because it's a for-profit company.
Plan B is the building gets handed over to the bondholders, gets sold, gets redeveloped for profit, and these 180 people will be left with nothing. It's an absolute disgrace.
With the future so uncertain, residents say the facility is losing employees every day. If the sale doesn't go through, it'll run out of money by year's end. In Port Washington, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS.
Sorry. All I said was, can you imagine being 95 years old and having to deal with what they have to deal with? Yes, we want you out because we're going to renovate and make more money by not being an assisted living place. I hate what has happened. It is really... But here we are, Asheville, North Carolina. More information's coming out, which is just horrendous. Oh, and I can't play it on this. Do I have it open here? Let's see. Yes, I do.
Sounds really bad through here. Rotting. really bad. Oh shit.
That's a cross, if you can't see it, above a pile of dirt. And she's breathing death.
This is surreal. It smells so bad. Yeah, I'm gonna go up here. Ugh. You guys, I had to walk away. It's really stinky.
That's Asheville. That's not up in the mountains. That's down the river. Yeah, body's still not recovered.
Hey, I hope you haven't forgot about North Carolina. It has been a couple days since I've updated you, and I have a lot of news. I am going to be moving my whole operation from Sonoma up to Burnsville. I'm in Burnsville right now. If you look across the bridge over here, this is Relief, North Carolina, and these people got decimated. The bridge is a disaster. You can see I'm on the bridge now. The river's as fucking wide as 2 football fields. But if you look right here, there's debris piled up against this bridge, 45 feet high, 620 feet out into the river. There are people in those debris piles. There are souls all up and down this river bank, and no one's been out here. As far as I know, there's been no search and rescue, no recovery done in this area. The people of Relief, North Carolina over here, to the people that are left, they've had 5 confirmed deaths. The 6th person is who we originally came here to look for, also presumably dead. The people that are still here, they need help bad, and there's people north of here and people south of here that need help. So I'm going to act as this is my hometown. We're going to get these people took care of and all the people in this area. This wouldn't be possible without y'all. I'm going to have to fundraise to do this. I mean, there's people's houses that need to be rebuilt. I have a church on the other side of the mountain that's going to have to be rebuilt. And I'll stay here in North Carolina until these things are accomplished. But I need your help.
Yeah. Someone just wrote a comment. Kaz, I think. I don't want to go back because I just don't. But in England, an old folks' home, they kicked him out with 1 day. They had to get out with him 1 day. You're kidding. You're kidding. Okay, something is very wrong with humanity. Something is very wrong with humanity. And we know it, right? Yeah. And this, I'm going to play it. Yeah. What would you do?
I want you to take a look at this video. I want you to take a look at this video. This is my trigger warning. It is heart-wrenching. It will punch you and hit you right in the gut. But these stories cannot stop being told. Take a look at this video, and then I'm going to come back and tell you exactly what I see.
I found a guy buried alive up to his neck 3 days after the flood. They went to go pull him out. He said, "Leave me here, let me die." They said, "Why?" He said, "My family's dead, I know it." Rescue workers reply, "We're finding lots of people that have been missing for several days. They're probably still alive." He said, "No, I know they're dead." They were buried below me and stopped scratching my leg 3 days ago. That. Why is that not being covered by the media? If there is a single story to summarize the devastation of this event on the people, this is it. And why is it not being covered?
Now I have to tell you, if I'm ever in that similar situation, I would ask all of you humanely to put me down. My 17-year-old daughter or my 15-year-old son, if they were buried under me and 3 days ago they were scratching, most likely could probably hear them trying to catch their last breath, but nobody came to help. Now, maybe nothing could have been done about this family, but there were other families. National Guard, a functioning FEMA organization, nobody getting in the way of stopping amazing, incredible patriots from stepping in to help as roads were being covered and roads were being blocked and people were being threatened that they are going to get arrested if they intrude or get in the way of humanely attempting to help anybody that was suffering out there. Fake photo ops, food never coming, illegal immigrants getting in the way of 51 trucks, slashing their tires, and looting all the food, water, medical supplies that so desperately needed to get to these people that were just taken away. You know, I don't know what world that you guys want to live in or what world that we are asking to live, but this is not a world for me. This is not a place that I want to call home. All I'm telling you for everybody else out there, and there are still people suffering out there day by day, night by night, just trying to get to the next day, just because mainstream media is not talking about it. All those hurricane victims, many of them have lost everything, and they still don't have food, and they still don't have water, and many of them are still going out without electricity or internet access or any means to move on to the next day. I don't know what kind of change we need, but I do know that we need change. And this current administration, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But continue to take the high road. Continue to find compassion. Continue to keep your Lord and Savior into your heart. Love your children. And may you never find a day that your family is buried beneath you and is scratching on your leg just to let you know that they're still alive.
That's pretty intense. What we see in Western North Carolina and Eastern Tennessee, that has to be expanded outwards throughout the entire country. We don't need to wait for hurricanes and see the disaster to step up and help people. We need to use these people as powers of example. And I will tell you that disaster is happening in every community. You know, people may still be living in their homes. A whole lot of people are living in their homes and freaking out because of their finances. Maybe feeling like, you know, I'm going to lose this. I'm going to lose the house. A whole lot of Americans are really just facing devastation. So we all need to be come from Appalachia, you know. Who would have thought? But yeah. A woman is being charged for flushing toilet paper at an apartment complex. Okay. Yeah.
Metro woman is wanting answers after she says her apartment complex. Metro woman is wanting answers after she says her apartment complex tells her not to flush toilet paper.
She says they are now threatening to fine her. News 4's Mecca Thompson spoke with the woman today about her worries, and Mecca joins us in studio now. Mecca, what'd you find out?
Kevin and Heather, the tenant, is a mother, and she says she cannot afford to pay fees for doing something that is completely normal.
I want to understand how it is that if she flushes the toilet paper, that the landlord knows it's her toilet paper being flushed, because it's an apartment complex, I believe.
This is unbelievable. It's distressing me.
A new set of rules put in place at Paulette Coleman's apartment complex.
Yeah.
I'm trying to comply with the rules. All I'm doing is putting toilet paper down the toilet.
Coleman lives in the Mira Vista Apartments near Northwest 23rd and Meridian. She says she's been living there for a few months. Coleman says now she's being told she cannot flush toilet paper.
I have a trash can that's in my bathroom, and I put a trash bag in it, and I told them to put that in there every time that they use the bathroom.
Coleman says she's now getting notices like this one. It says, warning, next time there is a sewer backup, there will be a $50 fine added to the next month's rent. It continues to read, please do not flush toilet paper. We do not want to charge you $100 next time.
Also said that it was a sanitized, it's a health issue.
We tried speaking with management, but the door was locked and no one answered.
As far as the office goes, I believe they are closed right now.
But we're told to leave the property. We contacted Oklahoma City's utility division to see if there are current problems with sewage in the area. The city sent a statement saying in part, quote, after reviewing our line maintenance work orders, we found that there is no city sewer main nor utilities work affecting the Mira Vista apartments. Paulette Coleman says she's a single mom of 2 and is just trying to do what's right.
I can't even sleep at night because I'm worried about you charging me.
And the city's utility division also tells me it sounds like the complex is dealing with a private issue regarding their sewage problems.
What have we turned into? You see how fast we have, you know, just descended into third world, fourth world country. Bank failure, Oklahoma again.
The bank behind me here is no longer the First National Bank of Lindsay. The logos and ownership all changing today.
That's because a federal agency shut them down, saying they had false and deceptive records suggesting fraud.
I saw some of it on Facebook, and it was really a shock. Really a shock, you know, and it's just so tragic.
A longtime bank serving the Lindsay community.
I opened up my account here when I was 15 years old.
Lynn Scruggs here has had an account at the First National Bank of Lindsay for 60 years. And today, he and many others in the city see the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or FDIC, working inside the bank.
If you look down there at the parking lot, there's probably 50, 60 people inside that bank there this morning trying to get things in order for that they can open up Monday morning at 9 o'clock.
I talked to the FDIC today. They say accounts with $250,000 or less are fully insured. However, they're still working to figure out how much those with more than $250,000 will get.
I sure don't have $250,000 or more in that bank, but I'm sure that there's some people in the community that have more assets in the bank than that, and I imagine that they're kind of scratching their head to see what's going to happen.
This bank is just the second bank in the nation to fail this year. The last bank to fail in Oklahoma was the Freedom State Bank in 2014.
People in this town are resilient, and we're going to work through it.
Now, customers are...
Not everybody is resilient. And the FDIC insuring $250,000 or less. Wait until, I think it's going to be Bank of America. That's going to be one of the big banks that collapses. Wait and see if the FDIC actually pays out, because the FDIC does not have the funding to pay out for a major bank collapse. So if you're with Bank of America or any of these big banks, I would diversify for sure if you don't want to, take your money out of banks. But for everybody, I would absolutely take out, leave enough to pay your bills on a monthly basis, because everything is just collapsing. Major U.S. banks on course to close a staggering 1,000 branches this year. The full list, what is the full list? Bank of America closed the most locations of any bank, shuttering 132 between January and September. U.S. Bank followed, closing 101. Wells Fargo closed 92, Chase 90, TD Bank 52. And I'll post the link. You can scroll down. In South Carolina, the bank that I was using closed down, and I was pissed. But this is also going towards digital currency. No need for banks. And this is just flipping amazing. Yeah. Well, most Americans feel worse off now than they did 4 years ago. I would switch that word, feel, to are. Most Americans are worse off now. And I do go to Daily Jobs Cut, and I look at the numbers. School board, New Jersey, 93 positions. I'm not going to read I'm just going to read the numbers. 78 from a pharmaceutical company. 700 from Spirit Aero Systems. I guess I'm going to read the name of the company. Bassett Healthcare, 100. 269 True Value Warehouse. New York, is that Citibank? Flagstar unit, 700. Shell Energy, 103. Sage Therapeutics, 165. Pfizer, 80. PPG, 1,800. Independent Health in Buffalo, 66. 25 from Gritstone Bio, 400 from Avante Health, 280 John Deere, 280 more layoffs. John Deere. Don't Nod, up to 69. Airbus, Defense and Space, 2,500. Gigamon, 69. Intel in Oregon alone, Intel, 1,300. That's just within the last 4 days. And that's not an exclusive list. This is all this site has captured. International Paper, 650. Portland State University, 100. And where are people going to find these jobs? Once laid off. Cabinet Works, 420. Boeing, 17,000. Turnstone, 48. Chinese surveillance camera maker, Hickey Vision, may cut 1,000. Nikola Fuel, 135. Blue Shield of California, 61. Career Builder, about 200. These numbers are big, very big. So we know that there's almost no equivalent that these people can move into. So it just means that more and more people are stressed, a whole lot freaking out once they start hitting that job market and seeing, okay, there's a whole lot of ghost jobs that you can apply for, and then you find out that they're really just not jobs. That's a little bizarre, right? But I think these companies that host all of these job openings, I think a lot of them have been told to post a lot of job openings so that people get the idea that we have jobs out there. But we've learned from a lot of people who have applied and found out they're just ghost jobs. They don't exist. And yeah, yeah, the economy is only for the rich, not the middle class, certainly not the lower class, and not if you are a victim of weather warfare. I'll post this link if you want to hear. So we have to change. We've got to figure out a new way of living, and get that community back, right? If we can. Migrants. Starting with Europe. Let's just play out these videos. This is our war as well. So they use weather as a weapon, and they're using the migrants as a weapon. And it's really bad. In all European nations, Western nations, it's really bad. And do they need all of the people in their own country to come out fighting this? Absolutely. But there's an awful lot of illegal migrants in these countries, and deporting them all, well, that's going to be a major feat at this point.
Can you tell me what benefits migrants get when they come here?
They get first everything. So you could, an English person here could be sitting living in your mum's on the sofa, waiting on a housing list for 5 years. Yeah? A migrant will come in and he'll get preferential treatment straight away as a refugee, as a vulnerable refugee. So they get housing first, they get benefits. If they come in straight away, they get put in a hotel, 3 meals a day, heating. Like people in our country are having to leave the heating off in winter because they can't afford the heating bills. They're all in 4 or 5 star hotels, and they get allowances, they get money, they get everything. They get preferential treatment. We have a 2-tier funding system, visa system, government system, and British people are not put first. We're treated like second-class citizens. We're the people paying taxes. We're the people who built this country. It's our forefathers that died and sacrificed this country, and they don't care. They're treating us terribly. So we've been betrayed. We've all been betrayed. The whole Europe's been betrayed. The other scary thing is, see these migrants, they organise themselves in a military fashion for voting. So the Democrat Party, for example, the Labour Party here, they just replaced us. White working class started aspiring to be better and then voting Conservative or turning into Republicans. They're not happy about that. So then they're replacing with a loyal vote bank, and they do deals. So in my hometown of Luton, 2013, when we had 20 mosques, the local leader of the council of mosques just does a deal with the Labour Party for 40,000 votes. They can sit down with the leader of all the mosques and know in that town they've got 40,000 votes. So you're all fighting for votes, you're doing all these campaigns. The mosque will just tell them who to vote for. Literally, they come, this is who you're voting for, they get buses and they drive them there and vote. So the power they have at a low number in swing seats is massive. All your parties will talk to them. They will become such a power force in vote bank politics.
I wish it was only for voting, but it's not, as we all know. But Rick Yorkin, I want to ask, you right, there's a lot of opportunity now? Really? Where? What opportunity do you see? And you are talking about jobs, right? Because it's not a happening thing. And yeah, there's a lot of people who don't want to work anymore, not just men. Why? Because they bust their ass and get no reward for it. They slave away at a full-time job. They have another job or another 2 jobs, and still they have nothing to save at the end of the month. A very big change from when I don't know how old Rick is, but I'm talking about the baby boomers, from when we were growing up, when we were young adults. What these young adults are facing now is just, it's heartbreaking. I mean, it's unconscionable that they have to face what they have to face. But they get nowhere. And income, salaries remain stagnant while everything continues to inflate. So, and of course, the migrants come along in all of our countries and take it all. Irish media completely ignored this footage. With an election on the cards, never forget how the Irish government treated people who didn't want an immigrant plantation in their area.
Spray, pepper spray. Holy fucking man.
Yes, scumbags.
You fucking bastard! You fucking bastard! Shake the fucking arm!
You alright?
You fucking bastard!
Let them get the woman out! Let them get the woman out, will you? Will you let them help the woman? Let them help the woman! Let them help Let them help the woman, will you?
This is all because of the migrants. Right?
What's your name?
Monica.
Monica, what happened to you?
I was pepper sprayed by, I was sitting at the bus stop and I was pepper sprayed by a policeman.
There's a woman. Sorry, how old are you, Monica?
62.
62 years of age. That was sitting at a bus stop, was pepper sprayed also by a guard she accosted me.
I'm on a crutch. I've got a very, very bad leg.
Am I waiting on an ambulance? Terminally ill. She's terminally ill. Terminally ill, Drew Harris. Terminally ill woman was pepper sprayed.
Yeah.
And he kept giving them to me.
Dirty bastards.
And he moved them from over there when there was red up with them.
No more, honey. Not
Disgraceful.
right now.
Disgraceful. Dad, you go on back over there. I don't want you getting involved in this. Go on. Forever, I have to be here.
I'm only thinking of my grandkids.
I know what you're thinking
I'm
of.
thinking of my grandchildren. My grandchildren. Shouldn't be fucking here, but why wouldn't I be here?
Exactly. Fair play to you.
The Irish are out on the streets protesting this migrant invasion. This is Blakestown, Dublin. Migrant wielding a large knife fights with school children. School children? This guy doesn't look like the age of a school child. There is so much chaos already.
Everybody! Well, y'all know we were here. Everybody knows we were here. Because we're here for our families and the future of this country. And there's no second chances on it. She's playing, sold us down the river, but players, that's all in the air. It's really to look out for their own people and not be who feel the better. Hey, people come forth. Hey, kids come forth.
Yes.
You look up the tents of all the brilliant. It's not to see, but there's no living, so send them home.
Yeah.
We have homeless leaders, please. Send them home. 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 Send them home.
Our countries are turning into madhouses. Looting UK supermarkets. Italy. Yeah.
Folks, I'm just wondering, you're part of this organization. You're part of this organization, yeah? I'm just wondering, I have a sign-up form. I'm just wondering, would you like to sign up? It's to have unvetted male migrants in your own home. Would you like to sign up? Sir? You're not in a position, so who would you...
And this is the response. All of those waving the placards, migrants welcome. And then you go into the crowd, you ask them, would you be willing to open your home to them? Well, I'm not in a position to. I don't have the room. They are fucking hypocrites. They think that what they're doing, they're so virtuous. They're destroying their country, and they believe that they're morally superior. They're filled with this virtue overflowing. But when it comes down to it, they don't want these migrants anywhere near them. Okay. Yeah.
Whatever Keir Starmer says, I don't think that he is intent on doing what the majority of British people consider he should be doing, and that is to be sending illegal immigrants back to, under the treaties we can do it. They should not be allowed to stay here. They should be deported without any question, as should those illegal foreign immigrants who've committed crimes here. They should equally be deported. So our country needs to man up a bit. It needs to start to run itself properly. But as you know, we can't do that until we leave the ECHR and we repeal the Human Rights Act. I don't think, despite...
Good morning, bluesman, Sonny Fournier. Have a great day. Migrant who threatened to kill Nigel Farage now threatens Patrick Christie's from GB News. Okay. Just the threats alone should be, he qualifies for deportation?
All people work here, he want to kill Mother Pasa because all people work here, he think Mother Pasa come here, he send a live, he take a video, now everybody talk about there's plates or there's a gun or there's people, so everybody want to kill Mother Pasa. Don't talk about Mother Pasa more, don't talk about Mother Pasa. Then this place is danger for me. Please, don't talk about me. Motherfucker, don't talk about me. I don't want somebody talk about me. My life, there's content. I show my people, I show my followers what I am. There's not my fucking gun.
Oh, the diversity of migrants is just going to enhance our culture. Yeah, okay. You like that AR-15 on the tattoo on his cheek? Yeah, come on in. Welcome. Hey, that guy who said, well, I'm not in a position. Maybe you can get yourself in a position and house this guy. I think this is Germany or... So that's a woman who knows how to take care of herself. Could be Austria. So enough is enough. Big move. 17 European nations have decided to deport illegal Muslim migrants out of their country. Some have started taking action.
इसने लाखों मुस्लिमों में हड़कंप पैदा कर दिया है। भारत के लोग भी आज इस खबर को देखकर हैरान हो जाएंगे। 17 यूरोपीय देशों ने मुस्लिम शरणार्थियों पर बहुत बड़ा फैसला कर लिया है। इटली, जर्मनी और स्वीडन जैसे देशों ने तो एक्शन लेना भी शुरू कर दिया है। यूरोप के इन 17 देशों ने कहा है कि वो अपने देश से उन सभी मुस्लिम शरणार्थियों को तुरंत निकालने वाले हैं जो गैर कानूनी तरीके से आए थे और जिन्हें शरण
A little hard to understand. Some countries are doing it, but that doesn't mean that these countries are resisting the New World Order. Perhaps they're just getting way too much backlash from their people. Sure wish Americans would unite and give some backlash. Wouldn't that be sweet? What is this?
So you have a problem with my words?
Yes.
Because of filthy
The police. Yes. We have a problem with your words on social media.
migrant just spat on me.
Yeah, that is
And you've got the issue with me.
have a duty to challenge that language, yeah, because we're police officers. And it's
Because he's filthy and he's a migrant and he attacked me like the other one.
we're trying to help you report that, but we can't not challenge that language because
Okay, what's your numbers? So you'll find my language offensive 1483 3028 1192.
especially when you're here in the public as well, because obviously people walking past us.
And that's fair.
Well, I think filthy migrants attacking English people is disgusting.
You're also swearing as well, man.
And that's an issue. Since when is swearing a crime?
And you're in public where people, kids like you are where people can hear that.
Well, I'm not interested in a PC lecture. If you want to take my details, that's fine.
Okay.
But I'm recording. So you have.
Oh, it wasn't on social media. It was, I guess, on the sidewalk. That's right. You're not supposed to swear in England. Is that quite right? In the UK? Can't swear in public? Oh, wow. What would Americans do? What would Americans do? Migrants in Brunswick, Maine. Okay. All right. Maine, our country, United States. God, we have so many people hurting. So many people cannot find a home to live in. Families, American families, cannot find a home for themselves and their children because the rents are so flipping high. And here, Brunswick, Maine, they built brand new apartment complex for migrants. Mainers, where are you on this? Because I know that there are homeless Americans in Maine. Holy shit, man. Do we put up with a lot that we should not be putting up with at all?
How much is rent here?
free. 2 years. After 2 years, we have to pay the rent.
All right, y'all, this is Savannah Hernandez in Brunswick, Maine, reporting to you from the apartments where migrants are getting their rent paid for up to 2 years. Now, I wanted to give you guys a first inside look at these units. The migrants shared with us that they come furnished, so they have a flat screen TV in there, couches, tables and chairs, a bed. We also asked them as well, hey, are you paying utilities here? They shared with us that no, they do not have a water bill, they do not have an electricity bill.
And what about the light and the water?
Everything is good. We don't pay anything.
Now, I wanted to focus in on this area of Maine because there is a housing crisis going on currently for residents, and these buildings were initially created for Maine residents, but then it was decided that homeless migrants would be living here. Now, as an American, You can rent out one of these units, but a 1-bedroom is going to run you about $1,800, and a 2-bedroom is going to run you about $2,300. By the way, the average housing price for a house over here in Brunswick is about $480,000. So there was obviously a lot of outrage when it was first discovered that migrants were going to be housed here for free on taxpayer dollar. Now, I wanted to focus in on Brunswick as well because this is the same county that has received FEMA funding from that same program that spent almost $1 billion through the fiscal year of 2023 and 2024 on sheltering illegal immigrants throughout the United States of America. By the way, FEMA coming out and saying that they have run out of that funding.
We are expecting another hurricane hitting. We do not have the funds. FEMA does not have the funds to make it through the season.
This is why I wanted to come up this way. This is why I wanted to come to Brunswick, because I wanted to show you guys a comparison of how the federal government is treating American citizens versus illegal immigrants and migrants in this country. This is how migrants up in Maine, up in Brunswick are living. We also went to Bangor, we went to Lewiston, and there are African migrants who share with us that they really like it over here, that they've been treated very well. We spoke to Catholic Charities who told us that they are expecting more migrants. They're actually bringing more migrants up this way.
Yeah, so we're expecting up to 150 refugees starting yesterday until September 30th, which is the fiscal year. And then we also have walk-in clients, which will increase those numbers. Generally for refugees that we know are coming, we help them get set up with an apartment, but we're always looking for like other landlords to work with as well for apartments.
So I wanted to give you guys an idea of what was going on in Maine, the uppermost corners of the United States of America, where you wouldn't expect there to be migrants. This is a direct result of the open border, the illegal immigration crisis that has been allowed to prosper over the past 3-4 years, and it's stretching to even areas of America that you wouldn't expect.
Bangor, Maine, Brunswick, Maine, Lewiston, Maine. Maine. We are slaves only because we decided to be slaves. We consented. Okay, I'll be a slave. We don't have to be slaves. But it's not that we're slaves. It's more that we're just pieces of shit. That's how government officials look at Americans now. We're not on their radar. They don't give a shit about us. They don't care what we will do because they know that we don't have the numbers to do much of anything. And they don't care. They have no conscience. They're instructed to bring in all of these migrants, destroy the areas where they come in, foot the bill, the Mainers footing the bill, when there are so many who don't have a pot to piss in. Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, so Michaela Montgomery reveals that Kamala Harris administration has given illegal migrants 9 million jobs. Okay. Not entirely sure who she is, but just let's listen for a few minutes.
Now, the Biden-Harris administration also touts all this job growth, but they failed to mention the 10 million migrants they brought over here and the 9 million jobs they got. So, if they're saying they added 15 million jobs and 9 million went to the migrants, then that sounds like 6 million jobs, y'all. Now, when we compare that to the 20 million jobs that were lost due to their COVID policies, that doesn't sound like a very progressive administration. That doesn't sound like a group of people who deserve a promotion. Now, the Biden-Harris administration also touts all this job growth, but they fail to mention the 10 million
A New York farmer talking about the migrants coming from Canada into New York.
It's hard to say how many people actually have come across. They've cut off 13,000 in the last 6 months. That's what the Border Patrol have apprehended. I feel if they caught 50%, that's probably a good reading. You have no control over it. You don't know who these people are. Not everybody's a good person. They had a guy up in Orangetown, not too far away from us, get arrested. He was planning a ISIS-style attack in New York City. That was just recently. That same night, I still had people come across my cameras. That should be stopped. 4 years ago, we had hardly any people coming across. It was a rarity. Now, it's every night I have people on my trail cameras. Every night, it's another group. Usually there's 2, 3, sometimes there's 5, 6. It all depends. If you're lurking around in the middle of the night, usually you're up to no good. It's hard to say how many people.
This woman got pushed out of apartments due to illegals. I will post the link. You can listen. It's bad, okay? Yeah, there's no denying anymore. Look at this caravan coming up from Mexico. Gee, I do see there's a girl, there's a woman, but mostly, if you look closely, you see those military-age men.
Breaking, last minute. A caravan has left the south border of Mexico. Around 2,500 migrants from Central America and South America, and also from Haiti and parts of Africa, have decided to leave this morning from the south border of Mexico in direction into the United States of America. The initiative.
Huh. They usually play on this browser. I'll post the link. You can watch. Listen to Oscar Blue. So we've got war going on with an awful lot of weapons. And when we have the election coming up in 2 weeks, all hell could break loose. And we know that all of these migrants, right, that Kamala Harris actually wants mass amnesty for, to be fast-tracked into American citizenship. But it's funny because they already have been. It's the lawful prospective immigrant status. Lawful prospective immigrant status to most of the millions of illegal aliens living in the United States, allowing them to hold American jobs, secure Social Security cards, and travel outside the United States and still be readmitted. Well, they already have Social Security cards. They already have American jobs. And hell, they're being treated like kings and queens. So, it's funny. I guess, are people not getting how they have already been fast-tracked into American society? Do people not get that? Migrants staying in Albany hotels told to leave by December 31st. gang concerns increase. Get out. Albany, New York. It's kind of cold, December 31st. I guess you can go down to New York City and get into a shelter or something. Do you know how many migrants? I mean, it would explode your brain to find out how many migrants are all over the country in hotels when Americans, more and more, seniors, more and more are going homeless. Doesn't that mean that we're not taking care of our own? And that's kind of silly, right? Do you recognize any of them? This is the latest and greatest of Anthony Aguero. He's in Texas. Sometimes he's at the Arizona border, but I think this is Texas. What? Texas? Wait a second. What is going on in Texas? I thought the National Guard was stopping all of them. I guess not.
Iranian nationals are crossing the Texas border in numbers not seen in months, and it's raising the terror alert here on American soil. Several hundreds of miles of the Texas-Mexico border do not have fencing, which many say makes it too easy for migrants to cross. More than 101,000 migrants were encountered at the southern border in just September, bringing the total to more than 2 million for the 2023 fiscal year. News Nation's Allie Bradley joins us live from Eagle Pass there near the border. Allie, what can you tell us?
Yeah, hey, Nicole, problems still persisting and actually continuing to get worse here in the Del Rio sector. We were actually around 2 different groups of over 100 people crossed into the sector this morning, all before 8 o'clock. So we were there when this group of 140 crossed into the Eagle Pass area. This is just outside of Shelby Park, where, of course, Governor Abbott has that basically fortified. This area is a private property that they're crossing onto. Now, in this group, mostly made up of Venezuelans, people from Honduras, and also people from the Dominican Republic. But there were 17 unaccompanied children also in that group. Now, yesterday, Texas DPS actually encountered 3 Iranian migrants in a group of 134 in that exact same area where we were standing. And just last week, in a group of 165, 14 special interest migrants from Iran, Egypt, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo were apprehended by Texas DPS and Border Patrol during that time. Now, migrants from special interest countries being encountered in the Del Rio sector, which is where we are, they're climbing fast. According to data obtained through sources, in August, there were 40, followed by 75 in September. Now, just 17 days into October, that number has already surpassed 180. That's double last month's total and more than 56% higher than August and September combined, something that law enforcement say is a concern.
Yeah.
It baffles my mind how they're never prepared, and it's always a knee-jerk reaction. Again, the big concern is the gotaways, as I've always said, and at the same time, a lot of these individuals, they're not carrying any IDs. They're not in any database, so you pretty much have to take their word for it and deal with the vetting that you do have at your hands. It's very concerning all around, and I think.
And you can guarantee that the vetting, if they're doing any of it, is minimal. Oh boy. Wow. So yeah, things aren't looking very good. No. They're still coming in. And they're coming in a whole lot. So isn't it funny? Aren't Americans funny people? That they actually believe what these disgustingly immoral politicians say, like Biden. He signs some executive order or something to limit the amount coming in. Even that limit was ridiculous. But geez, we've had over 2 million in fiscal year 24, 23, 24, and a whole lot just this past month in Texas. That's just one. place. Oh, how do you get people to stop believing liars? How do you get people to stop believing liars? And how do you get people who don't believe the liars to care about what happens when they lie and the consequences that come about from those lies? Well, it's an awful task, isn't it? It's a big task. Drunk driver. Here.
All right, story time. So the two pictures I put up a few minutes ago was from an illegal alien driving a unregistered truck with temp tags, and he was drunk off his ass. So he proceeded to get into a hit and run as I was pretty much directing traffic because a train was coming by, an 18-wheeler was there, and it was just a shit show. He hits another vehicle and then proceeds to take off. He comes back to the scene afterwards, and he doesn't speak a lick of English. The guy who got hit was trying to get him out of the car, so I go over to pretty much try to stop a fight that looked like it was going to happen. The illegal pulls over, gets out of his car. I take the keys out of the car, so he comes over to me and starts trying to break my hand to get in the vehicle, or sorry, to get his keys back so he could take off again. So I knocked him to the ground and split his eye open, and he takes off sprinting the other direction. He comes back a few minutes later, and he's all huffy, like, I'm gonna beat you up. And he comes over to me, and I'm looking at him, and I put my hands on his shoulder. I'm like, man, I'm sorry I hit you in the face. You tried breaking my hand. I don't know what's wrong with you. You're drunk. You need to sit down. And I'm looking at his eye, and it's all bloodshot and swollen. He's got blood trickling down his face. And he proceeds afterwards to start getting aggressive with me again and start pushing up on me, like, Grr. So I knock him to the ground again. And I'm like, calm down, dude. Fucking calm down. So he gets up and he starts stumbling to his truck. So I'm trying to stop him. Like, you cannot be driving right now. You're going to kill someone. You know, fucking mother trying to drop her kids off at daycare and get to work is going to get killed by this guy because he's drunk and now probably a concussion. Like, it's stupid. People are fucking stupid. It's a shit show down here in South Carolina, by the way. It's a fucking shit show. So anyways, he gets in his truck and he takes off down like this little dead end construction site area. So me and a couple other cars, we try to block him in. The fucking dude takes off on the train tracks. No, okay. Well, fucking people don't know how to drive. So the dude takes off on the train tracks and proceeds to get away because the cops are stuck behind the fucking train on the opposite side of the street and couldn't get to us in time. So yeah, our government is allowing illegal immigrants to come into this country, and they're giving them template tags to drive unregistered vehicles with no rules, regulations, laws, nothing. Not only the free fucking credit cards and food stamps with $13,000 balances, now we're giving them vehicles to cause damage and potentially kill other individuals. When is this shit going to end?
When Americans demand that it end. But we need a lot of them because we've let this stuff go for so long, my entire life, not holding any of these evil shitheads accountable. Now, I mean, any adult certainly could see that everything that he just said that's happening in South Carolina and happening all over every state, okay? Everything that he said, any adult of sound mind would understand that it's deliberate. Handing them money and cars, licenses or not, just allowing them to drive. What are we doing here? Okay? Americans really need to stand up. And unfortunately, those who just don't give a shit, those who have not suffered any consequences yet, those who just think it's fabulous and we're just such a generous and compassionate people. Oh, please. May I just bust your delusional bubble? They take all of us down. Those are the people who render all of us vulnerable to everything that's going on. And that's not nice. No, it's not nice. It's really not nice. I'm going to play this out. Teenager in Springfield, Ohio, talks about what is happening in her school.
The top floor, the classes would literally be filled with Haitians. Every single classroom. No white people, no nothing. It was just Haitians.
What percentage of students at your high school would you say are migrants that have recently came into the United States?
I would say about I don't even know, 50% of the schools, or maybe a little bit more, are Haitians. They're filling the classrooms up, and we don't have the translators to help the teachers, and they're just really disrespectful. I mean, the footage got taken down, but before Christmas break, there's two Haitians got caught in the stairway.
At school?
Yes, at school. There was video. Another thing, the age limit to go to school is 21.
Yeah.
And there'd be 21-year-olds in freshman classes. Oh. Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that's not okay. That's not okay because I'm not saying all of them, but some of my friends have literally got violated by them and harassed.
So the 21-year-olds are inside the high schools?
Yes. Yes. It's not okay.
Where are the adults in our country? You have to wonder. This is what is happening to the children who go to school, the drivers who get into accidents with all of these, illegal migrants who are drinking. And what about all who have lost a loved one because of the violence, certainly the raping of young women and murdering them? This is going on. Where are the adult Americans who might express some upsetness about what's going on? It's so in our face. It couldn't be more obvious that all of this is brought about deliberately. So, yeah. Do I have any expectations that Americans are actually going to unite on something that's important? No, I don't. Be prepared. Get yourself ready. The military-aged men cells that are all over the country will get activated. A whole lot of Americans will just have no idea what the hell is going on. But if you pay attention, you don't have to read all of the articles. Just pay attention to the headlines in mainstream media. You get the idea. Something is very wrong here. So, thank you for showing up. You guys, get out there, bring your best selves, help people, try to establish some relation with your neighbors, community members. If you happen to enter into a conversation with someone and you realize, wow, that person might be awake. Yeah, follow up, keep talking, and maybe organize something, because there's going to be a time when so many are going to be wanting community and they just don't have it. Because Tren de Aragua, MS-13, the other criminal organizations from other countries, they have community. They're tight. So, all right, guys, I hope you all stay safe. I do thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. And yeah, be very aware of your surroundings always. Awareness, awareness, awareness. And on that note, I say good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.